there's nothing in the two teams, was it? A bit of a poor game, to be honest. And obviously the conditions played a massive part for both teams. I'm fairly confident at half time, especially with the wind. It seemed to die down that second half. So yeah, one try from a kick. Like I said, nothing between the two sides. Disappointed with a few things that second half, and probably his management of the game as well, that we needed to be a little bit better. But yeah, listen, they've come here, they've played some footy, and maybe we're probably guilty of just going into a shell a little bit.
Tim, how delighted were you with your goal line defence? You had a lot of defending to do in that second half, and you actually looked quite comfortable with it.
I'm glad you think so. from where I stood, we got bumped out. Like a couple of the edges were really struggling. The guys like Paul in that second half, but we put our bodies in front. The half-backs did, and at least stopped him enough for people to clean him up. The outside backs made some good decisions. Difficult to throw a long ball today, which we found in the first half, trying to throw a long ball and losing ball. I'm pretty disappointed with that because we talked seriously about that yesterday when we were training in the wind at home. Got to throw a long ball from 9, keep it tight. Anyway, but we got off the goal line and defended pretty well. Forced some issues. They tried to get the ball around the back, and we covered that. We've been susceptible to that for some weeks. Getting beat with the fullback centre wing combination around the back on the edges. But today, we managed to shut it down. But again, I think the conditions played a part in keeping the scoreline down from both sides' point of view. There'd have been more points scored today, I think.
And it's not a try, is it? There's a knock on in the air. He pats it down onto somebody's head, and that's not a try. The Tom Johnson one, with frame by frame, he got the ball down. It's a perfectly good try. So yeah, listen, there's lots of things in that game. Again, they get put on a team warning, and then the very next set they give a penalty away, and nobody gets sent to the sin bin. It's twice that we've had this guy, this referee, and they just seem to let anything go today. I thought the rucks were a disgrace today. The rucks were, you could get away with anything, and my blokes probably got away with quite a few things as well, but just slowing the play down, and we couldn't really get any momentum. But I don't want to take anything away from OKR. I thought they played well, they moved the ball well, and good on them.
Tim, are you happy with the way you sat stuck in there and took place to come?
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, no coach wouldn't be, with the effort today. Particularly losing Danny for 10 minutes and then losing Woody with what looks like an ACL. We're down in numbers, we're down in size. We've got obviously some people missing from the squad. So to stay with them, particularly in that second half, and come up with the winning try, was a great result.
I've always been a big advocate of video referees at every game. The Tom Johnson one in that corner's a try. So yeah, it's those kind of decisions you've got to get right. But I'm more miffed off with the ruck speed, the continual hands on the ball. Like I said, you put them on a team warning, and then 30 seconds later they give a penalty away, and nobody gets sent to the sin bin. But I'll speak to Steve Ganson about that. I'll speak to Steve Ganson.
Yeah, well, the conditions were a real equaliser today. I think a dry day, well, both sides would have liked to have used their backs more. We do, and so today. We'd be the first side to keep Tupu. I don't think he made 100 metres today. But certainly keeping him quiet was a key, and but we struggled handling their forwards, their rotation. He picked a big side, off the bench, in particular all forwards. They didn't have enough forwards left in the club. We barely had 17 fit this week, so and losing Woody's not going to help. But although Robbie Mulhern We'll be back next week for the front row, and Joel Tompkins in the second row will help us a bit.
They were probably the team that wanted to play a little bit more expansive than us. Like I said, I thought we went into a shell a bit and pretty one out, and we couldn't generate any ruck speed because we were one out and no push. So that's the disappointing thing. The weather we can't control, and I thought that first half we did really well. I think we were 15 from 15. 18 from 18, and then the last three completions we incomplete the last three, so we're 18 from 21 up until Danny Maguire getting sin binned. We looked pretty comfortable and really pleased. And I thought that the work that we did in that first half, the play count, I think we had 21 more players than what Hull KR did. So we're always confident going into the second half that we'd get over the top, but credit to Hull KR, the resilience on the try line. We had a few opportunities, like I said, and just came up with some silly passes and some wrong decisions.
Like a win today, particularly for me, I got a fans forum next week. And it would have been they're coming at me from the sideline there, where I wouldn't put Chris Atkin on for a while. So God love them. But at the end of the day, no, from our point of view, you need to stay in the mix. Yeah. I think we sort of blew our chance with the loss to Salford, and you've seen them go forward. So we needed to stay in the race, and a win today, was super important. So to get a good result.
Obviously the conditions weren't great. Were you happy with each decision to take a kick at goal when you had opportunities in the Hull 20?
Yeah, I think so. It was always going to be one of those kind of games, wasn't it? Like I said, early he could get away with anything today in the ruck, and we couldn't generate any ruck speed. And I thought it was smart from the captain to take the 2 points. And we always said that it's probably going to be won by a kick of a ball. And they've come out and scored in the corner with 6-7 minutes to go. Again, I still thought we had an opportunity in that towards the back end there, but Hull KR defended well.
How pleased were you with Chris Atkin? Because he seems to make a real impact when he went in at dummy half.
He did. It's a tough one with Chris. On a big side like that, you can't start Chrissy at 9. He's barely 80 kilo of fat. So the two halves are going right. I think Drinkwater kicked really well and had a really strong game. We really managed the second half for us. Tommy handled the most part of it, and Chris made a difference. At a time when their forwards were tired, they didn't pick on him too much, and he worked him over from the back of the ruck, so from 9. So I was really happy with that. He delivered some nice ball, made good yards. That's all we needed to do into the win that second half. So, take some credit for that, when to put him on. Stopping a bit from the crowd over there telling me when to. But we had to hold it just for the right time. And losing Woody early, which we didn't count on, used up an interchange that we didn't account for. So I had to be sparing with it. I still had one up my sleeve with 3 minutes to go. I nearly got Garbutt back on, but as it is, that last 3 minutes went by and we didn't use him.
I was going to ask you about Garbutt. How pleased are you with his impact for your team?
Well, we missed him last week, I think that's for sure. And his time on the field was great. He really carried the ball with a lovely feet for a big man, gets through the line, pokes his head through the line really. Not a day for passing, not a day for fancy plays today. Just hard grunt, and he added his bit to Mossy and Jewett. Jewett had 2 spells and just toughed it out. He's coming back from a long-term injury, so he just had to hang in there. As I say, we're down in numbers today in the forwards, but Danny Addy did a good job also. Just the right time, just introducing him at the right time, I think.
Right, we are in the press room defrosting after a very cold afternoon at Bellevue, where Hull KR deserved winners in the end, 10-6 over Wakefield Trinity. Wakefield Trinity even. Paul Cooke, what do you make of it?
Yeah, too good defensively. There was never going to be too much in the game. We felt, during the game, even live commentary, that a kick may well decide it, and it proved to be. One Tom Johnson kick where the linesman's got him in touch. And another ricochet which falls to Danny Maguire, and he puts the game to bed, doesn't he? It's a 4-point ball game. It means that the kick from Craig Hall meant that Wakefield had to gamble, and it was really difficult in the conditions to gamble and try and play around Old Kingston Rovers today, who I thought defended manfully. I thought it was magnificent defensively.
Tim Sheens said after that he thought it helped his side that you couldn't get the ball out wide quickly, and it wasn't a day for getting it out wide quickly. But the disappointment for Chris Chester is they didn't use the ball they had, because they had a lot of ball in the second half, didn't they, Wakefield?
Yeah, particularly down the right end of the field where they didn't really trouble. Only Paul, I think, went close, got half through Josh Drinkwater and palmed off Will Dagger. But yeah, just at a premium, wasn't the points and opportunities to score points. I felt like they could have maybe took the goal kick when Old Kingston Rovers went on to a team warning, made it a 4-point ball game, but they chose not. And I think Chris Chester will be really disappointed with his team. I think he'll be really disappointed that they've not been smart enough to win today's game ugly.
One moment of controversy. Tom Johnson thought he scored in the corner. We were in commentary. I thought he was out. You thought he was in. Chris Chester clearly thought he was in. It could be a game-defining moment, but it went against them.
Yeah, Tim Sheens thinks he was out, doesn't he? So, yeah, it's just one of those. The linesman's closer than anybody. If he gives it out, then it's out. It's not the reason they've lost the game. Whilst it's a big moment, they've still had an opportunity to clean up the kick which Drinkwater puts up. If they catch that, then they still win. So there's lots of little moments in games where it's probably not helped, but I'm sure it's leaving itself out over the year for Chris Chester and his team.
A lot was made about Rovers' defence coming into the game, but they defended the line manfully today, didn't they? I thought they really did defend their way to victory.
Particularly second half, they had to, didn't they? But managed the game really well. I think kicked the ball really well, made plenty of metres. Atkin off the bench went straight behind the ruck and brought some energy to their team. I just think they deserved it today. You know, marginally, but deserved it. 10-6 is a good reflection of the score.
Third win of the season for Rovers. It's important they keep chipping away at the win column, isn't it? Because it does, you know, all of a sudden it puts pressure on those around, even though we're so early in the season.
Well, it doesn't, particularly a couple of clubs at the bottom, and we don't envisage being there too long in Leeds and Wigan. Huddersfield obviously getting off the board over at Wigan earlier on this weekend. So, yeah, wins are really important. To knock them off ugly, as Old Kingston Rovers have done today, they'll move on to next week. You know, really happy and enjoy this win.
And for Wakefield, 3 defeats in their opening 5, everyone talking them up as top 5 contenders, and they may still will be, but all of a sudden now they've got a big game at Hull on Friday.
Yeah, huge, isn't it? Losing in London round 1 was tough for them. Saints can beat anybody, but there was good at home against Catalan, really good away from home against Leeds last week, and then they've fallen into that trap today of losing a game against a team they would arguably say they should be winning. And if they want to finish in the 5, then they've really got to find a way to win these games in this weather and find a way to keep chipping away at that wins column we've just spoken about.
And a weekend of surprise results in wins already Huddersfield and Salford. Maybe not the surprise result, but the manner of result certainly was. And then again here today, Rovers coming in and upsetting the odds.
Yeah, you wonder where the next win's coming from for some teams like Huddersfield away at Wigan. Last year's grand final winners, where's the next win coming from them? And they get a result. Salford really poor against Saints last week and then turn up and put 0 on Catalan and score plenty over 40. So I don't think anybody saw that coming. And then, you know, we turn up today expecting a Wakefield win, and Old Kingston Rovers defend the way, as you said, manfully to a welcome 2 points for them before going home against Catalan next week, which is a big game for both them teams.
One downside for Rovers today, James Greenwood looks like he's gone for the season. Tim Sheens saying the medical staff think he's done his ACL.
Well, he's done it before, so I suppose the nature of his injury means that the medical staff have seen it before. I'm not sure if it's the same knee, but they've seen it in one of his knees, and you know, the feeling of, you know, we had that feeling when he went down and Kopchak jumped straight off him. Players know when somebody's injured, and players are aware that it's a serious one, and thankfully he was up and left the field of his own accord, but it looks like it's going to be another lengthy spell on the sidelines of rehab and team rehab for Paul Greenwood.
Yeah, disappointing afternoon for James Greenwood, but a good result though for Rovers, their 3rd win of the season. We'll be back tomorrow night on 4020 Live, 6 o'clock until 8, reviewing it, and you could stand by for a scoey explosion, because there's no doubt about it now, Leeds are in crisis. We'll see you tomorrow at 6.